Hello, this video is to illustrate PDR systems using various features for small cap rework, 01, 005s through to the larger caps. The tray you see before you is being manipulated into a nest for very small components. You will notice that it slides back and forth for centering with the pickup head. Also, you can load the 0201s, 0402s directly onto the nest, whether at the bench or in this case applying the small cap directly onto the plate. I'm going to lower the pickup head assembly into position and do some macro alignment so later on we can use the micrometers. We have now centered the pickup head assembly and attached the appropriate pickup nozzles to pick up small components, and we've lowered it and done some macro alignment to line it up. Next we are lowering the pickup nozzle into position, and you can see this on the left hand side camera, which is our oblique view camera. Then we're going to take our split beam prism system and we can now have a look up and down on the 0201. The next process is to bring the pickup nozzle into focus. There comes the pickup nozzle there. Once we have it into position, we're going to use the micrometers to align up the component with the pickup nozzle. This is the same process with removal and placement. Now that the pickup and the component are aligned, I will lower the pickup assembly and activate the vacuum to pick up the component. Now we will switch to the split beam prism for the actual placement of the 0201. This is very similar to what we did when picking up the component from the nest. Once we get into position, we will manipulate the lighting and positioning in order to witness where we will place down the component. Here comes the pickup nozzle into view. We now put the component into position using the 360 degrees rotation and X and Y micrometers. Once we are in position, we will move on to the next step. Next, I will apply some solder paste. There are a number of ways of doing this: automated dispensing, machine shop measurement tool, but this happens to be a very simple method and takes a bit of a steady hand using a very fine needle and solder paste to apply solder paste onto the pads. Simply place down the component using the pickup head assembly and deactivate the vacuum. So next we're going to bring the split beam prism back so we can make sure that everything is good to go before we begin the reflow process. The solder paste will condense and form into each end of the component. Next we want to align the top heat IR beam to fully cover the component area, and once we have done this we will move on to the next step. Next we will position the thermocouples. The left hand is the PCB temperature for the in-process control, and the right hand thermocouple is for the component you are reworking. Once we have these tied up, we can go on to choosing the correct profile. The next part is a long segment, but we have selected a profile from the profile library. I've made a couple of modifications to the profile, but nothing major. You will notice on the left hand picture the red light heating the component. At the same time, the preheater from below is applying the heat accordingly. This is a real-time closed-loop feedback system, so it only draws enough power needed to complete the process. You can see the live temperatures at the top left-hand side of the software. On this particular board, most of the heavy lifting will be done on the preheat stage, and there is very little top heat being applied. This will vary depending on the board and the component. The system has the ability to correct itself using algorithms as required to draw the correct amount of energy automatically. We will use the oblique view camera to witness the reflow of the component. You can get a great view using this camera, but sometimes PCBs can be very populated, which makes it very hard to see such a small component. Now we are approaching where the PCB preheater will turn itself off automatically, where it will stabilize at a set temperature. You will notice on the oblique view camera that you're starting to see liquidus. The solder is melting, and we're going to take it over the top and let it soak for a little bit to form a decent solder joint. We are almost through this solder process here. It looks like we've got some good reflow, and now we'll let the process cycle until the end. At this point, we'd have an automated forced air PCB cooling, which is triggered in the software at the start of the cooling stage of the profile. But I'm going to stop it a little early. So let's inspect our work. We're going to clean it up a little bit with a brush and some flux remover to make the site clean. The same process which we use for the placement is the exact same for the removal of an O201 on a PDR Rework system. Line up the pickup tip to the O201 using the split beam prism and run the profile. Once you're in the soak stage, the vacuum will switch on and you'll go ahead and remove the component. Thank you for watching this video, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you.